If I hadn't started using Hospitable, I probably would have had a mental breakdown with all the messages coming in and not being able to respond to all of them at once.
Maybe.
To be honest, like I've had close to mental breakdowns, but um, yeah, yeah, it would be impossible to do what I was doing uh, without it. My name is Alex Jobin. I own 3 properties and then co-host for another 18. Properties are actually national, so whether that's in Washington, here close to Atlanta, or even up in Baltimore. We manage kind of all different types of properties, whether that's micro suites, this beautiful cabin that we're in, or just houses that are close to the city. I got started in hosting in 2021. That's where we bought our first property here in Blue Ridge, and then we expanded to each year after that, buying another property, and then in 2024 is when we started to expand with the co-hosting business. I love guests leaving us reviews that, whether it's a honeymoon or an anniversary or graduation, having an amazing stay. So for me, what really drives my business is just making people super happy and comfortable in the spaces that we host. So we differentiate our listings a lot of times through photos, better optimization, great pricing strategies so that our hosts are not only getting booked, but they're making more money than they would previously if they were trying to manage it themselves. What makes us stand out is definitely the service that we provide. We're always, 24/7 available for guests. We're providing them great spaces, so making sure that we have top quality materials within our stays, and then also making sure that throughout the experience or throughout their stay, we're communicating constantly with them. If I had to explain Hospitable in one sentence, I would say the only software you'll need to manage vacation rentals. I started using Hospitable about 2 years ago when I just had so many different platforms that I was logging in and out of, and I needed one centralized place to message guests and manage the business. It was super easy. The integrations are super quick. It's super user friendly. It's not hard coding anything. It's something for someone like myself who doesn't code or isn't super great with technology. It's easy for me to set up. A specific example that I have of how Hospitable has made my life easier is definitely the automated messaging. So whether that's check-in information, whether it's checkout information, whether it's just making sure that guests understand where things are, having those rules built in a way that's super automated, super simple, and automatically follows up with guests is huge. Hospitable has made my life easier because there's one click to automatically respond to a guest based off of information that I have in my guidebook. So instead of going back and looking at, when I manage dozens of properties, trying to figure out, okay, do we have a drip coffee machine or a Keurig coffee machine? Because I have that documented and it's in Hospitable, we're automatically going to come up with the right answer using AI. I would say my favorite thing about Hospitable is definitely the generative AI feature. So being able to click a button, having machine learning understand what the guest is actually wanting, looking at our listing information, and then coming up with a great response that also matches my tone is fantastic. Hospitable builds features super quickly and reacts to product features that us as hosts are always asking for, whether that's improvements on direct booking, new pricing features, or simple ways of working or new integrations. It seems like every single week there's something new coming out. Whether it's customer success or the product team have been amazing, super responsive. They're always looking out for hosts, which I don't necessarily always see with other similar platforms. Since using Hospitable, our response times have dropped by almost 25% just because we can automatically respond to guest messages, or with one click, we can use AI to respond to guest messages, which has been huge. And then I would say, as far as property onboarding, the only reason that we've been able to scale is because I can quickly get owners up and live on the platform, get messaging set up within minutes rather than taking days and days to set everything up and make sure all the integrations are working. I would say in a given week, Hospitable probably saves us around 6 to 7 hours a week just in messaging and going back to our internal documentation. We don't have to do that anymore. We just have to make sure that our internal documentation is uploaded to Hospitable so we can use AI to respond to guest messages. So I would say automated messaging has greatly enhanced our reviews because we can ask for reviews automatically, we can follow up automatically, and then we can make sure that we respond to guests super quickly if and when they have questions. If we weren't able to respond quickly, then guests would have a lower review score just because they might be staring at their phone for a couple minutes while I look for the answer. But that doesn't happen anymore. Hospitable smart lock integrations we use on a bunch of our properties. It's super simple. So a lot of our locks are automatically managed by Hospitable. They'll generate unique codes for each one of our guests. They'll have codes for our cleaners that they can use, and then it automatically switches those out. And I think a great feature about the smart locks is actually having notifications when those smart locks are probably need their batteries changed. That way guests aren't stuck at the front door because you basically ran out of battery. I would say that's a big one for sure. Yeah, so as far as the amount of integrations that Hospitable has, there's tons, whether that's the smart locks, whether it's price labs, whether it is integrating with a bunch of other platforms like Turno, which manages our cleaning. All of that is super easy and super reliable. And even when there's something going on, for example, that one of the softwares has an issue, whether it's Airbnb or VRBO, Hospitable's super quick to react and say, hey, Airbnb isn't experiencing an issue with said API. Messages are delayed or things like that. I think that's really helpful. So using Hospitable as a team has helped us greatly. Not only I can see what my team is messaging guests and we can give my team feedback, I can make sure that they only have access to certain features. So whether it's finance info that I don't necessarily want the rest of my team to have access to, we can actually, basically say, you don't have access to certain features. That's been super helpful. I think it's also led to a huge amount of efficiency within the team because we're all seeing the same information and we're not all logging into the same account. Each person has a separate account. They manage their properties, and that's helped us expand. So the integration with Booking.com with Hospitable has been huge because you can create a Booking.com listing directly within Hospitable. So for us expanding to other platforms, just that has made it super easy for us to continue to expand and scale. So if I had to explain Hospitable in one sentence, I would say it is the go-to software for vacation rental businesses. Yeah, so we're definitely looking to expand not only close to home here in Atlanta, but also nationally. We've got great teams set up in a bunch of different cities, so we're looking to expand.